Welcome in and cozy up gamers. In this video, I'm going to go over some just general tips and tricks for if you're starting out on a new account or even just beginning in the game. Some of these things are things that I figured out the hard way or I figured out through somebody else's video. So I hope these tips and tricks help. The first thing I would like to say is if you are just starting out, just getting the base game is probably the most beneficial. While it's great to have the expansion packs, it makes it very difficult when you're trying to level up your characters because then they might want a favorite gift that is an item or maybe even a meal from the other expansion packs, the DLCs, and that can make it really difficult for you to try and level your characters just from the base game right off the bat. My second suggestion is when you are running around and you are playing, picking up all these items on the ground, all these harvestables, all the flowers, and all of the items that you may get from mining or harvesting from bushes. Save everything. It's the easiest way to be able to do crafting, do your recipes, just save every item that you get. And that kind of moves into my second suggestion is storage chests. When you're saving everything in the crafting bench, you can do a small chest, which is super easy to craft. So in your crafting bench, if you go into functional items, you can craft a small chest, which only takes softwood and stone. That is the easiest way to create storage chests for all the items that you're picking up and saving. It doesn't cost a lot to make. It doesn't have a whole lot of space. It does only have 2 rows, I believe. I'll take a look here. Yeah, so it just has 2 rows of storage area for you to store things in. But in the very beginning, if you have to make 25 of these chests to be able to store all your items in, that would be my best suggestion. I do not recommend. There is this expansion button where you can use Dreamlight to actually then turn the storage chest into a medium and then even a large chest. However, the Dreamlight is such a valuable currency in the game that using 1500 Dreamlight to expand this to a medium chest is really not worth it. There are so many other items that you can get down the road that you can use as storage. Or even create a different storage chest it would just cost a lot less. This Dreamlight is very valuable, and I suggest that you save it for other things like opening realms or expanding on your valley. Another really great item that you can get from Scrooge's shop is this Daisy's Blooming Wardrobe. If you get lucky and you get this in your shop very early on, this storage chest actually acts as a large chest, and you can use this to store your items in. Sure, it's not the prettiest, may not necessarily go very well with anything, but when you're starting out and you need to make the storage, just use what you have. Another thing I recommend early on in the game is, going into furniture mode and going ahead and removing all of your trees and any of your obstacles that you may come across as you're trying to run through your areas and biomes. I set this little farm up where I had put some pathing down, and these plaza trees are really great because they are super small. And then it creates this little wood farm. They still spawn the same rate as they normally would, And these plaza trees, no matter what biome you put them in, they're just going to spawn whatever the wood is that is native to that biome. This just makes it a lot easier for you to come into your biome, collect all this wood, and do it in like a more efficient way. So if you're not playing for a really long time, or maybe you log on and don't have a lot of time to play, you can kind of just run to each of your biomes, go to your little wood farm, pick up your resources, and then drop it off to your storage chests to stockpile the wood for later quests, as well as crafting items. Also recommend moving your trees and bushes, the harvestable ones, so that they're a little bit closer together, again, for that simple fact that if you don't have a lot of time to play, you can just hop on, harvest all of your bushes, your trees, grab your wood, and store it in the chest. Another thing that I didn't realize until later on in the game is that obviously Goofy has a stall in every biome, and in that biome he has specific seeds that he sells for that area. If you were to plant these seeds in the area that he sells it in, if you click on the hole, you see that it has a little arrow. That means that the seed actually grows faster in that biome. It's usually not by much, but it is helpful in early game if you don't have a lot of space or a lot of time to wait for vegetables to grow, that you make a very small farm plot in every single biome to go ahead and place those items, the seeds in each biome, to kind of help them grow a little bit faster. I also do recommend that early on in the game, obviously you're going to get the coins. You're going to want coins to be able to spend at Scrooge's shop, upgrade stalls, and upgrade your villagers' houses. My suggestion to make money is to just plant as much crops as possible. Now, if you only have the plaza and the peaceful meadow unlocked, just plant the wheat, the carrots, and the lettuce. Just plant as much as you can and have space for, and just continuously harvest and sell those items back to Goofy to really gain your star coins. With that being said, you should make sure that you have someone who is a gardener. Have them follow you around, because when you harvest the items, it does, that person will give you extra of the items that you are harvesting, which makes it really nice to have extra that you can sell and make more money that way. So as you can see, I had gained some extra items with having Mickey with me because he's one of my gardeners. Another thing to note is the more people that you have in a specific skill, the more items they will spawn for you. I have learned that I think it's like when you have between 5 and 10 of a specific one, that the rate of how many that they give you gets increased, and 10 or more also increases again. I believe all of this information, like with the percentages and how many you have to have, is all broken down on the Dreamlight wiki if you wanted to check that out to have some specific numbers. Here in your Dreamlight tab, you do have 6 Dreamlight duties, and these change out as you complete them, so there is going to always be a continuous loop of these Dreamlight tasks for you. So once you complete one and you accept the Dreamlight from it, it will add another one. I highly recommend that you attempt to do as many of these as possible, as Dreamlight is a very valuable currency in the game. You not only use it to unlock your biomes, you unlock the realms, but it's also used in crafting. So it is a very useful currency. So make sure that you're trying to do as many dailies as possible when you log on. Sometimes you can get it to where it will line up with the duties where you can complete more than one at a time. So then that really makes it pretty easy. Another thing that I suggest too is there is a Dreamlight duty that is for daily conversations with your villagers. And this one will take a long time to complete the entirety of the task. What I mean by that is when you go and talk to one of your villagers, there'll be like a little conversation bubble at the top. And you can do this once per day with every character. It's usually just a little conversation. And not only does this increase your friendship with your character, so it's helpful when you're trying to level them, but it'll also add to that Dreamlight duty where in the end you have to have 1,000 conversations to complete that task. And it does take a long time if you're not talking to your villagers every day. Again, if you're just logging on as a casual player, just talk to every character that you encounter throughout your time that you're online. I wouldn't make it a point to go to every single one unless you really have the time to do so. Another thing that you can do on the daily is that every biome has critters, and every day there are 2 of those critters available in each biome. And there's usually only 2 a day. Sometimes they change out in the middle of the day depending on the colors will change out depending on which biome you're in and just what their rotations are. I do recommend that you do try to feed these critters daily, or if you're in the biome, just make sure you're feeding them their favorite item. Because again, it takes a long time to gain that critter as a companion, and they also give gifts along the way and memories. So in order to gain your memories from these critters, it does take a while since there's only 2 a day. So I recommend that you do this every day as possible when you log on. Also, once you get to a point where you've gone through and done Kristoff's quest and you've unlocked his stall and fully upgraded that as well, I recommend every day that you log on that you buy out his shop. I usually don't buy the coal because that is something that is easily available, but maybe in the beginning, if you're just starting out, you can go ahead and just buy it, and I would buy out all 6 of his items that he sells every day, because a lot of those items that he sells are high value items, so things that are really hard to gather on your own, like hardwood drops in there. Sand is another one that's really hard to gather, and you tend to need a ton of it for your quests, because you use the sand to make glass. And I know at one point I had 2 quests for, I think one was for Beast and one was for another character, where I needed like a ton of glass, like an obscene amount, like 50 to 100 pieces of glass, and it was just crazy to try and farm the sand. So the buying it from Kristoff's shop really makes it easy. He also will sell glass sometimes as well, and he will sell vials, glass vials, which again, if you can buy the vial without having to craft it using the glass and or the sand, it definitely makes it a lot easier in the beginning part of the game. So the other portion to that would be make sure that you are going to Dazzle Beach daily, and you are going to I don't have any more, I don't think, on my beach here, but it would be those blue coral looking rocks that populate on your beach. just making sure that you are mining those every day. Obviously, you have to have completed the quest line to be able to mine those, but once you get to that point, I would just make sure that you're doing it daily because it does drop sand from those. Once you get to a point where you've had enough star coins saved up, I also would recommend that every day that you can, going into Scrooge's shop and just buying every item that you possibly can from his shop. One thing that I didn't know in the beginning is when you walk up to an item and you see that it says 450 star coins, if there is like a red circle dot on the top right hand corner of this amount here, that actually means that you do not have that item. So that makes it really easy to know whether you have that item or not. I have all of these items thus far in the shop, so I don't have any that I can show you with the little red dot, but just keep an eye out because I didn't figure that out until very recently, and I was going into my collections every time, checking to see if I had the item, instead of just walking up to it and noticing that it had a red dot. Another thing to keep an eye out for are these blue chests. They are a completely random spawn, so they are going to spawn somewhere in your valley. You're just going to have to run around and look for it. Usually I go into furniture mode since I have most of my trees removed because most of my biomes are not decorated yet, so I have most of the trees removed, so it's easy to spot it. And you just collect this chest every day. This will give you 50 moonstones. And the moonstones are great to be used in the premium shop, where you can purchase outfits, skins, and items and houses in the game. This is a very useful currency, as well as the only way that you can gain these moonstones is through those chests, or if you get to the point where you have the dream snaps unlocked. If you are doing that every day, or I'm sorry, every week, you do have a chance to win moonstones from the voting portion of that. Otherwise, the moonstones, you would actually have to use real money in order to purchase. And in the early portions of the game, I don't recommend spending real money on the moonstones unless it's really for something that you really, really want. I would recommend just making sure that you're collecting those chests every day and doing your weekly dream snaps for a chance to win those moonstones. And I will make another video going a little bit more in detail about dream snaps, but just know that if you do that weekly, if you do the dream snap weekly, that you have a chance to win up to 4,000 moonstones a week, which is really useful because 4,000 moonstones could easily get you one of these house skins to add to your valley. Another thing to note about the house skins is that you can obviously use them to give your own house a specific style, or you can actually place the house skins just directly into your valley, which I didn't know this very early on. So if you had purchased a house skin, you can select it from your furniture menu in the house section. You can actually place it right in your valley, which is super cool because then you can use these houses for creating villages and just themed areas. And you can actually go inside the houses, and inside the house it will always have a main room with 3 rooms off the sides. You can fully decorate these houses and you can expand them only in size. You cannot expand how many houses or how many rooms or floors there are. You can delete the room if you'd like. So if you wanted to make a build where maybe it only has one main room or one room off the side, you can just hit the trash can button and it just deletes it. And then you can always just add it back into whatever size that you would like, up to 12 by 12. In this menu option here as well, you can turn it so that the mailbox is off, so that when you exit the house, it no longer has that player mailbox there. It kind of just blends more in with the theme of whatever biome you decide to put it in. And I really hope most of these tips and tricks really help you out in your beginning stages of your Dreamlight Valley adventure. If you have any specific questions or things that you're stuck on, please leave a comment below. And I will see you guys on the next one.